Have you ever wondered what it might be like to read minds? Whether you're a real estate agent or not, I feel like everyone has wished at some point in their lives to be able to read minds or to be able to persuade people to do whatever they wanted. So this video is for all the agents out there who wish they knew exactly what their client was thinking and wish they knew exactly what to say in order to win them over. Today, we're doing a book study on Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents by Phil M. Jones. This book is not about sales, it's not about setting goals, it's about mastering the art of communication and getting inside the minds of your clients with words and phrases that are simple, easy to remember, and natural to use. There's a time and place for hard work and sweat equity, but sometimes you just need to know what to say and when to say it. We're going over 15 phrases that Phil Jones guarantees will be the difference between failure and success. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Georgina, a qualified real estate agent, loan specialist, and co-founder of Estra Finance, your go-to mortgage brokerage here in the Philippines. We're creating these videos to help Filipino agents reach their highest potential in the real estate game. Simulan na natin! Before we get started, let's bust a myth you didn't know. Who holds the power during a negotiation? Is it you or is it the client? Is it the buyer or is it the seller? It's actually none of the above. The person with the power during negotiations is the person who's asking the questions. Why is this the case? Why does asking questions put you in a position of power? Because it gives you the ability to steer the conversation to where you want it to go. Questions also kickstart conversations. Conversations are the building blocks of relationships. And what do relationships do? They open doors, opportunities that we might have never seen coming. And when opportunities knock, decisions are made. Decisions that could change the course of your real estate career. This book gives you the exact magic words to say, but what it's really doing is teaching you to ask better questions so you can control the conversation. So remember that as we learn these powerful phrases. Have you ever been rejected? Have you pitched to a client only to be turned down? Everybody fears rejection at least a little. But as a real estate agent, you need to run the risk if you ever want to secure business. Jones understands this, and this is why he's starting us off with a phrase that's deceptively simple. It softens the blow of rejection if it happens, but it also makes it a lot less likely to happen. I'm not sure if it's for you, but this phrase does something pretty remarkable. It tells the listener, hey, there's no pressure here. People are used to a hard sell, and they're likely to have their defenses up if they suspect someone is coming at them to sell something. The "I'm not sure if it's for you, but" changes their brain from a defensive mode to a curious one. They start thinking, wait, why might this not be for me? And just like that, you've got their attention and their interest without any effort at all. The word "but" plays a crucial role in this. Normally, we're told to avoid "but" because it negates everything that came before it. However, in this context, it shifts the focus to what comes next, making the listener pay more attention to the opportunity you're about to present. It lets them know something interesting is coming, and there's no pressure if you don't like it, making them more open to considering it. Here are some examples from a real estate context directly from the book. I'm not sure if it's for you, but when the time is right, I would be delighted to help you get the best price for your home. I'm not sure if it's for you, but there is an open house on Saturday and you're welcome to join us. I'm not sure if it's for you, but there is a new listing coming up next week that could be a good fit. Now, when you use this phrase, one of two things will happen. Either the listener leans in, intrigued and wanting to know more information, or in the worst case scenario, they politely decline, but with the conversation etched in their memory for future reference. So with this approach, you've virtually eliminated outright rejection from your conversations, and you've opened up a world of possibilities in how you can connect with your clients. Referrals are extremely effective at getting clients. There is nothing more trustworthy than a friend recommending you something, a new book, a new TV show, or a new cafe to try. But a lot of real estate agents are scared to leverage their referral network to get business. They don't want to be too pushy, they don't want to turn into the salesperson that everybody kind of hates. So instead of telling your friends and family to spread the word of your successes, let's shift the focus a bit. Instead of directly offering your services to the person you're talking to, try to explore their network instead. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're at a social event. Instead of asking someone if they need a realtor, Flip the script. Ask about their friends or their family. Questions like, do you know someone considering moving here? Or who in your circle might be thinking of upsizing? This way, you're not directly selling your services, but opening a dialogue about potential needs within their network. It's a softer, more engaging approach that doesn't put your listener on the defensive. Jones emphasizes the power of possibility in these conversations. Using terms like might, could be, or considering opens up a space for the other person to think wider, to search their memory without feeling pressured. This method not only avoids the direct pitch, but also makes the conversation more fluid and natural. And sometimes the person you're talking to might reveal their own needs without you asking directly. By focusing on who they know, you're indirectly asking if they themselves are in a situation where your services could be valuable. Are you open-minded or closed-minded? I bet you said open-minded, right? Why? Because everyone wants to be open-minded. That's the socially acceptable right answer. So let's use this knowledge to our advantage. When you introduce a new idea, whether to a stranger, a friend, a prospect, or a team member, framing your question with, how open-minded are you, can significantly increase the likelihood of them being receptive to your suggestion. For instance, when proposing a new strategy on selling a home, try starting out with, how open-minded would you be to working with an experienced local agent to help you sell your home? Or if discussing pricing strategies, would you be open-minded to reducing your asking price? This approach subtly challenges them to live up to their self-perception of being open-minded, making them more inclined to consider your proposition. Jones says that this simple tactic can shift the odds into your favor, from a 50-50 chance of agreement to something closer to 90-10. You've created a scenario where rejecting your idea feels like they're being closed-minded, which most people don't want to be. Remember here, you're still giving them a choice, but you've just made your choice a whole lot more appealing. Whether it's considering a property that's slightly over budget or exploring alternative neighborhoods, the question, how open-minded are you, opens doors to possibilities that your client might not have considered otherwise. For many people, the hardest part of approaching a new client is getting that conversation going. We know what we want to say, we just need to get there. And a lot of us stumble through that really awkward, clunky, small talk that's just a bit uncomfortable for everyone involved. But luckily for us, there's a simple, confident route you can take into almost any conversation. It's a 3-step process: a polite opening, a mutually agreeable fact, and an easy-to-answer question. This approach keeps you in control, cuts through the small talk, and gets to the heart of the conversation efficiently. Jones states the opening lets them know they are speaking with a real person and delivers them context for the conversation. The fact provides an agreeable framework for the purpose of the conversation, and once the question is answered, you have clear permission to proceed. Let's go over some practical examples. When responding to an inquiry about a listing, start with a polite introduction. Hi, it's your name calling from your agency. Then state a fact that establishes context. You recently showed some interest in property address. Finally, ask a straightforward question. Is this the only property you are interested in? This formula applies similarly in outreach to a for sale by owner or an expired listing, where you introduce yourself, mention your expertise and an observation about their property, and then ask a direct question about its availability. Even when seeking an online review, this formula works wonders. Start with a friendly greeting, provide context about their successful move, and then ask if they would be open-minded to leaving a review. The beauty of this approach is its adaptability to various scenarios, making your conversations feel more natural and more focused. As a real estate agent, you are constantly dealing with imperfect scenarios. Unfortunately, everybody's dream house just doesn't always exist, and people have to compromise. As an agent, you have to know how to navigate these conversations and how to help your clients focus on the most important stuff. And that's where our next magical phrase comes in. How important is it? This is more than a preference. It's understanding your client's priorities and helping them understand their own priorities and boundaries as well. There's a difference between essential and nice to have. This phrase encourages clients to really think about their needs and desires and actually quantify them. Once you and your client understand their priorities, you can use it as leverage to guide them towards smarter decisions and compromises. For example, asking how important is it that you sell your home quickly, or how important is it to have an extra bedroom, helps you gauge what they're after and tailor your approach accordingly. This is also a useful technique to help you gather information, but mostly just to ground your advice according to the client's perspective. When you use their responses to frame your suggestions, it becomes more about meeting their needs and less about pushing your agenda. Say a client emphasizes the importance of moving before the holidays. You could then advise, since moving before the holidays is crucial for you, listing at a more competitive price could attract quicker offers. Jones also suggests enhancing this technique by introducing a sliding scale. Imagine asking, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being essential and 1 being irrelevant, how important is it to you to secure this specific property? This quickly clarifies the client's priorities, making it easier to find a middle ground and facilitate a compromise that aligns with their most important needs. Here's a common scenario. You're talking real estate with someone who's pretty sure they've got it all figured out. Maybe they think they know the best way to sell a house or what makes a good agent. Jones suggests a smart way to handle this type of person, and it's not about arguing or proving them wrong. It's about making them question their own understanding to give you room to work. Let's say you're trying to introduce your services or suggest a different property to a client. The person you're talking to believes they know better, and it's getting tough to get your point across. This is where you ask, what do you understand about, or what do you know about? Delivery is everything with this question, because if you say it wrong, you're going to escalate the situation very quickly. Do not say, what do you know about this? This is meant to be a gentle challenge to encourage the other person to think that perhaps there's something they've forgotten or just didn't know. What do you understand about working with full-time agents versus part-time ones? Or what do you know about the latest trends in the housing market? Are soft, probing questions. You don't want to make the other person feel like they're wrong, rather that there might be more to learn. And once they start doubting their own knowledge, they become more open to hearing what you have to say. They start to realize that maybe their opinion was based on incomplete information. These questions help your client rethink their stance and give you the opportunity to set the stage for you to come in as the expert. When the client starts seeing gaps in their understanding, that's your chance to offer knowledge and guidance. You turn a one-sided lecture into a two-way conversation where both of you can explore and learn. When negotiating in real estate, we often encounter clients with very hard, set-in-stone opinions. But what if we could gently nudge them to see a different perspective? This is where the phrase, "could it be possible?" comes in handy. Let's say you're dealing with a client who's unsure about which agent they should work with. Instead of directly challenging their views or even reverting to a hard sell on your skills and qualifications, ask them, could it be possible that working with an experienced agent could be the right move for your situation? Or could it be possible that the other agent's high valuation is just to secure your listing? These questions are soft, non-confrontational, and driven by your own curiosity. They invite the client to consider alternatives without feeling pressured, and it doesn't force the client to admit that either option is wrong. When someone is feeling doubtful, you don't want to push too hard in either direction because they're just as likely to dig their feet in and ignore your advice as they are to take it. So, could it be possible works really well because it just helps them reconsider their options. They can embrace new possibilities because they're coming at the problem from a new angle. Our next magical phrase will help you diffuse tense, heated conversations. Sometimes you just don't see things the same way as your client, and that's okay. But when you really need them to understand you, there's a powerful phrase you can use to turn things around. Let's say you're with a client who is about to list their property with another agent, or they're reluctant to make upgrades before selling. Instead of confronting them or telling them you don't get it, say, "Help me understand." This phrase takes the pressure off. It's not about proving someone wrong, it's about understanding their point of view. And when you ask like this, people feel less defensive. They're more likely to open up and explain their thinking. Often, as they start to justify their choices, they might even begin to see gaps in their own logic. Help me understand why you're thinking of listing with the other agent, or help me understand why you don't want to make any upgrades before selling. This approach shifts the conversation from a challenge towards your client to prove them wrong to giving them the chance to share their perspective and offer a learning opportunity. If you have a client with concerns, this is a great, respectful way to navigate conversations and guide them towards better decisions. And speaking of decisions, a key skill of a real estate agent is getting your client to make one. A lot of people panic and stress and crumble under the pressure of choosing a property, and that's valid. It's a massive lifelong purchase for many people. And there's a trick to not just getting people to choose, but to getting them to choose the right option. As I see it, you have 3 options. There's a couple of things here that you probably immediately realize. People like advice from experts. They like clear and simple choices. And they like knowing that the pressure is off their shoulders while still getting the final say. This method helps clients feel all of that. They're in control, but you're subtly guiding them towards the decision you think is best for them. The key here is the order of delivery. Your preferred choice should be the final option. Say you're dealing with a first-time seller who's nervous about listing their home. They're ready to move, but they want over $300,000 from the sale. But they're also considering a low-cost listing service. You're trying to convince them to choose a professional realtor instead. You start by laying out the situation clearly, then you introduce the options. As I see it, you have 3 options. The first option might be something less ideal, like using a flat fee listing service with all its challenges. The second could be doing nothing and missing out on their dream home. The third, and your preferred choice, is working with you to professionally market their property, ensuring maximum interest and the best help in securing the best deal. The order of these options is key. You're building up to your preferred choice, making it sound like the most obvious, most hassle-free solution. And to wrap it up, you ask, of those 3 options, what's going to be easier for you? This question is powerful. It eliminates the less desirable choices and highlights your option as the path of least resistance. By framing the decision this way, you're helping clients see the benefits of your choice without feeling pushed into it. They feel like they're making the decision, but really it's your awesome communication skills guiding them along. On a similar vein to the way I see it, you have 3 options, is another phrase that helps people make a decision. We now know that the key to making decisions easier for our clients is to narrow down the choices and create clear options. When choices are more black and white, like choosing between a fully renovated home or a fixer-upper, decisions become simpler. Your job is to present these choices in a way that guides them towards a decision. Jones suggests saying, there are 2 types of people in this world. This immediately grabs attention. People naturally want to know, which one am I? You then present 2 options, making one clearly more appealing. For instance, if you wanted them to go for the fixer-upper, you might say, there are 2 types of people in this world, those who see the potential in a home and those who miss out on great opportunities. Or if you wanted them to go for the fully renovated home, you say, there are 2 types of people in this world, those who try to save a few bucks now and those who understand the value of a long-term investment. These examples show how you guide the decision-making process, making one choice obviously more beneficial. This method is about leading clients to a decision without them feeling pushed. It's about showing them clear paths and letting them see the one that's best for them. Though, obviously, you should use this with caution and remain ethical in your dealings as an agent. It's not just about selling a property to reap in the profit for yourself. You have a duty as an agent to help clients make the best choice for their future. We've all heard of cause and effect, but how many of us use it as a communication method with indecisive clients? It might interest you to know that our decisions are shaped by patterns we've learned since we were kids. If you do your homework, then you can watch TV. If you eat all your veggies, then you can have dessert. These statements influence us way more than we realize, even in real estate. And telling a client, if you do this, then you get this, is extremely effective. Here's how you can slip it naturally into your conversations with clients. When you're trying to nudge a client towards your preferred decision, frame it with an if-then statement. For example, if you decide to work with me, then I promise you won't be disappointed. Or, If you put your home on the market now, then you could be celebrating a sale by the end of the year. If you list with them, then you won't have access to our top-notch marketing services. Or if you invest in staging your home, then you're likely to sell it faster and for more money. These if-then statements are like creating a path in your client's mind. They start to see the connection between the action and the outcome, or the cause and effect. It feels natural, and by using this approach, you're not just suggesting an outcome, you're framing it as a logical, almost inevitable result of their action. It's making the choice clear and the result believable. Up next, Jones gives us a brilliant tool for those moments when a client is on the fence. The phrase, "Would it help if?" The power of this approach lies in its simplicity and the genuine offer of assistance it presents. It's a gentle nudge that can turn a client's maybe into a yes. Imagine you're with a client who's unsure about choosing your services. You're not trying to push them into a decision. Instead, you're offering them help in a way that's hard to turn down. For instance, would it help if you could talk to some of my past clients about their experiences? This shows you're confident in your service and considerate of their need for assurance. Or say you're dealing with a client concerned about the costs involved. Would it help if you knew that I only got paid when we successfully close a sale that you're happy with? This addresses their concern directly without them having to ask, and it reassures them of your commitment to their satisfaction. Sometimes it's the practical things that make a difference. Asking, "Would it help if I drove you to the properties?" can be a small gesture that shows your willingness to go the extra mile. This method isn't about convincing someone who sees no value in what you offer. It's about giving that extra bit of support to someone who's almost ready to say yes. The beauty of "would it help if" is that it's a question. It puts the ball in their court without any pressure. It's an offer and not an obligation. And if one offer doesn't hit the mark, you can always try another. Or you might get lucky and the client will tell you exactly what they want. This question is about finding that sweet spot of assistance that eases their decision-making process. When a client raises an objection, it's a shift in control of the conversation. They've thrown the ball in your court, and how you respond to their concern is key. The most effective way to respond to that objection is to turn it into a question. Let's say a client says, "I need to talk to someone else before deciding." Instead of trying to counter their point or convince them, ask, "What makes you say that?" This simple question does something powerful. It puts you back in control and makes the client articulate their concern. You're not challenging them, but you're inviting them to explain their thoughts. As another example, a client says, "This is outside my budget." Respond with, "What makes you say that?" It's not confrontational. It's curious. You're not making assumptions or trying to start an argument. You're just giving them the chance to clarify their concerns, and you're showing that you're listening. Sometimes clients might say something that feels more like an excuse than an objection. Jones suggests responding with just one word: "Really?" Imagine a client saying they want to sell their home without an agent. Your simple response, "Really?" followed by silence, can create a moment for them to reconsider or explain further. These two techniques, "What makes you say that?" and "Really?" are about understanding the client's point of view. They create a space for dialogue, they reduce tension, and they open up possibilities for negotiation. Imagine your client is about to do something you don't agree with. How do you step in and stop them from making that mistake? How do you make them pause and reconsider? Step in with the "before you make up your mind." This is a really good way to get your client to pause and give yourself the opportunity to go over all the facts one more time. You're asking the client to take a breath and reconsider their stance with all the information at hand. Maybe your client is hesitant about a property or the price. Try saying, "Before you make up your mind, why don't we just review the details again?" Maybe your client undervalues their property. Say, "Before you make up your mind, wouldn't it make sense to look at what similar properties have sold for in the past?" This phrase gives you one last opportunity to help your client see the bigger picture without disputing their decision. It's a gentle way of double-checking that they're certain and that they're not missing anything. And as we've learned, giving clients the space to view things from a different angle without feeling pressured or cornered keeps the deal alive. Our last magic phrase from Jones is a reasonable response to common delayers like, I just need time to think about it, or I need to speak to my partner first. These are common, frequent, and entirely understandable things to say, but a lot of the time, clients use them just to put off a decision. As agents, our goal isn't to rush clients, but to get them to make a timely decision by understanding what's really behind their hesitation. So ask a follow-up question. Ask them, just out of curiosity. This phrase works wonders. It's non-threatening and opens up a space for honest dialogue. It turns a potentially stiff conversation into a more relaxed and open one. For example, if a client is unsure, instead of pushing them for a commitment, ask, just out of curiosity, what specifically do you need time to think about? This question is inviting and shows genuine interest in their concerns. It encourages the client to open up about what's really holding them back, whether it's the budget, the timing, or something else. Just out of curiosity, what's stopping you from moving forward right now isn't just a question. It's key to unlocking the client's true objections. It's a way to transform their vague hesitation into clear, actionable concerns that you can address to help the sale move forward. So the next time you're faced with an I need to think about it, remember to be curious why. Side note here, if you've made it this far through the video, you're probably a real estate agent. So if you're based in the Philippines, visit my website to check out our referral program. We offer unlimited commission for real estate agents who refer clients needing loans to us. So let's partner up and give clients their dream home with their dream loan. As mortgage brokers, it's our job to increase clients' confidence in buying a home by helping find the best loan on the market for their situation, advising them on exactly what they can afford, and helping them reach their goals faster, whether that's owning one home or 10. I have a video on exactly who we are and what we do. If you want to learn more, I'll link it on the screen for you. Now, as my final message to you, remember that agents are bound by a code of ethics to do right by their clients. Their needs come first, not yours. Your profit comes second to helping your clients buy the house of their dreams. So remember that when you use these persuasive phrases, and also remember that the true power of these words doesn't just lie in the words themselves. It's also in how confidently and skillfully you use them. Ingat!